So maybe he needs to take us on his phone.
Tukulore Kamuela.
Yo, thank you, Mwele.
Oh, good. You see, that phone is
Sabally City Kong.
so saying,
City Kong.
long as I am trying on national. Even I did. Nabrikamas had was the Iron Lady of the struggle.
Buddy, Yunus bilinga ninja dorong Yunus will have and you did. Pongka he yalon ke ngandar balla nyung ko de bari ngaje live dorong ko pongana. Yo ibela device wala sindlat lakini.
Tungkonga sariane ad but malaya jena.
Okay.
So say bila nga conversation or miss. I wasn't able to hear what you guys were saying.
And just to summarize what I said, ngamin po dorong wala muko. Back during the struggle, one time I said politics is about lies and deceitfulness, and you know, yes, it was hard to hear that Sabally did this, but Sabally nata UDP now nyaming bota UDP wala nyama. Katunia de Sabally nata UDP Jana Commission bidding Adama Baromang Kolkai wotumole I mol be a part in party, so that was his way of getting back at Adama. I think one of the things I admire about him is that Nia Kurusi, Ngamra Sabali in UDP, Hadama do I say, no matter how much you want to leave, Ngamra UDP and Minka Sabali, Sabali Panay Olom Bakele. So Nia Kurusi, I'm under UDP, and I don't see Sabali going after UDP. I don't see him getting on a platform ka UDP doya ke neng kai menke barola because Mr. Dabo Fonga aning Sabali tema kujama le dunte tema horomo kono to the point where I don't think Sabali would go out and insult UDP. He wouldn't dare. So that is my thing. I don't think he will do it. But I think people need to realize that this is politics, especially in Africa. This is how politics in Africa for all Kariman Keforoti, this is this person is a hypocrite, this person is deceitful, blah blah blah. For them, this is very normal. This has happened since the Jawara days, Yunus. You know, you and I come from the PP, Jawara's PPP. So this, you ask your uncles, they will tell you. My uncle was the Minister of External Affairs. Well, two more people jump ship like crazy,
Mm-hmm.
So it's just one of those things. We just have to, it is what it is.
I think people for me, I think going forward, for Momodou Sabally, I think UDP is pretty vulnerable to him. UDP, I can say to some extent, if they know how to play their cards right, UDP is on the Sabaly's mercy at this point. This is what I believe. For Dabo, he will always show that gratitude, that respect, and all that. He'll always show that to Dabo, but that wouldn't stop him trying to bring UDP supporters into NPP, because that's his assignment. That's what Barrow wanted him for. Barrow wants him on his side so that he won't criticize them as he's been doing. But he also knows that he has this bit of, he's very outspoken, and he knows how to appeal to the to certain section of society and bring them. He can use that. Now he has the president already. The incumbent on his own is like a very powerful source of influence, and Sabally can use. Well, I'm not going to give him any ideas because anything that I'm saying here, I'm giving him ideas. But I know he is pretty vulnerable when it comes to Sabally. They got Sabally and make him like a national brand. Sabally has a lot of relationships within the UDP, and now what he will do is to try and maintain those relationships as long as possible and as cordial as possible, and that's what will work for him. He will always give Dabo that respect, and people should not fall for that. That is just his trick to show that
his mojo.
Yeah, and he can always say that and he still showed that have that kind of soft spot for Yahya Jammeh. If despite everything that Yahya Jammeh have done to people, Sabally still would not call Yahya Jammeh out and tell and hold him accountable.
Nope. I never heard it. And speaking of Yahya Jammeh, one of the things that the Gambian politicians can do whatever they want, but for me, people think I hate Barrow. I don't hate Barrow. I hate what he does. That's one thing. The other thing also is anybody who collaces with APRC, for me, I see that as if I were to go and support that individual, I'm going to see myself as supporting the legacy of Yahya Jammeh, a person that I fought for decades, because we started this fight on Gambia L, and Syrian was there when it was just the emails. So for me, that's why I think we all have our principles and values. And when it comes to some people, they may not have the same principles and values that we have. We may not like it. We may be angry. We may be disgusted. But we cannot dictate what people do, because I hear the rumors that Rahi may go. Everybody knows how much I love Rahi. But if Rahi goes to Adama Barrow, and if she joins NPP and joins camp with him, then I cannot support Rahi anymore, because again, my values and principles wouldn't allow me. One of the things that Rahi is in a very, very tough spot. Rahi is in Banjo. And I think a lot of development projects Rahi has, what Rahi runs into is, if the president ignores her, it really puts a damper on the things she's trying to achieve during her current term. So she's in a catch-22. She's a UDP person, and if they see her with the bus driver, oh my God, especially I saw that in the bus, everybody, oh my God. So people need to realize, until Rahi leaves UDP, we need to understand that in her position as the mayor of Banjul, she has to have a relationship with the president. She has to have a cordial relationship with him. And Rahi, to be honest with you, has been consistent. Remember when she came to the UDP event in Seattle? Rahi actually called Barrow her brother, and people like booed her, but she continued praising him, even though Barrow was giving her a hard time with her projects. So I think people need to understand that is her maturity. Now, if she goes, that would be disastrous, because people like me, I love Rahi, but I will not be able to. I will be able to support her as the mayor, but I will not be able to support her as a politician.
So, can I ask you a question? You brought Ross Malik Law up. So, I've seen two things that happened recently that kind of confused me. She won a RAFA something recognition a while ago.
Rafaela.
She took that that recognition and award to Lawyer Dabo, I think. But this time she went to the president. I don't know if there is a different, I don't know the rationale behind that. She's my good sister. This is something that I could maybe just pick up a phone and speak to her about. But I just want to let her do her thing.
I think until Rahi leaves UDP and goes to Barrow, one of the things, unless there's more to it than all of us know, because what people that were paying attention did see that 2 weeks prior to Sabally, when people did see Sabally, they kind of suspected he was going to go. For me, when it comes to Rohi, I have a very soft spot for her. I think when it comes to Rohi has to play this game of, and it's not a game, but she has to play this system. She, like I said, is a mayor. She won an award, and the president happens to be at Mankunda. She went there to share it. Anytime she speaks at a podium, every time I've seen Rohi speak publicly, at an official meeting, I have heard her praise Barrow. Even when Barrow was sabotaging her candidacy, she was like, President Mimal Lasanil, I laughed my head off. I'm like, this woman is smart. Because even though the president was really mean to her, she decided to be nice to him. So I don't think that happened when she was running on the UDP ticket. I think we need to cut her some slack until she does otherwise. But I think with Gambians, now that Sabally has gone, everybody's like, oh my God, Rahi's going to go. Cut her some slack. She's your sister. She's your candidate. She's your mayor. Wait until she goes to Barrow, and then you can say, oh my God, she's gone too. And then you can deal with it there. But right now, Rahi is a woman. And us women, we take those things, personally when people do it to us. Anyway, I'll stop so that Syrian can come
in. All right. Am I on mute? Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. All right, good. Yeah, no, that's good. I mean, the fact that, as Tukulor said, I don't think working with Barrow is a bad thing. I really, as a local government, I really, even on the platform last time, the back and forth between the government and Yankuba, I think the people that you serve, they are the sole losers. So I mean, people have their own interpret. I think Rohi is a very savvy politician, and with everything that was being thrown at her, the money, everything, she pulled her win. When everybody thought she was vulnerable, she was going down, but she won. So I think when it comes to local politics, I really don't think the party should dictate who that particular person, who she associated or he associated with. They need to let them play, because ultimately, I think the young man that kind of defeated Usman Silla, took the position from him, Banjul North. I mean, she was mentored and recruited by Rohi. So I mean, so it's not going to be a win-win for us. If you want this, you have to let the politics play out. And until, as Tukulor says, she's my good sister. I talk to her frequently, and I haven't talked to her for probably 2 months now. But I am not going to dictate or ask her motives. I think she's very mature in her own political upbringing, and I think she knows very well what she's doing. So unless and until she stood there and said, "Now I am MPP," I will I just play, because I mean, it's not bad to work with Barrow. It's not. I mean, ultimately, what you want is you want that benefit to come to your folks who voted for you. She cannot do it alone, and I think that's what I would love to see Talib Bensouda do. I love Yankuba to do, because ultimately, I mean, it's not you. It's the people that you serve. So unless and until Rohi comes out and say, no, you know what, I'm a full member of MPP, I will hold my doubts for now. So that's where I'm at too.
He got a message from the last local government election that Banjul may be drifting towards NPP because majority of councillors were Barrow, and even I think at some point she may feel like she wouldn't have won the elections. So I don't know, but she's made it clear that she wouldn't be running for another term as a mayor. So I think maybe certain signals that she may be getting now to say that, okay, if perhaps her ambition was to lead UDP into the next presidential elections, but if she goes with NPP, even after when this term expires, she may a job for other assignment that the president may give her. But these are all relations. Rohi, she's demonstrated loyalty in the past, and but at this point, the UDP party is at a very crucial stage, and the party is demoralized. The party, I wouldn't say stagnation is setting in, but
Yes, I don't think they are demoralized. I think
the party needs somehow a clear direction. A clear direction for the party and a new engagement to energize. But what we did, what happened recently that Sabally, because Sabally's cross capital into NPP is a big blow to the morale of because the topic in the country for a couple of days now, and we're still talking about it. So it's relevant. From what I've believed, Sabally, UDP, they allowed Sabally to come and elevated him to a very high stature in the party and in the country. And during this time, Sabally has made a lot of connections on the grassroots and stuff. So now he's with the incumbent. There is a lot of money at his disposal. He has. You see, what actually makes me sad is I've seen people within the UDP actually provide trying to find excuse for Sabally for what he's done. Say that things are hard on him and he's not having a job, and he has a ban that he cannot hold any office. But I thought this was a challenge for Sabally, because Sabally, what we see, we don't see someone who is struggling for no reason. What we see is someone wearing nice kaftans, having griots around, giving money and stuff. So to me, that's not a spectacle of someone who is struggling financially. I think UDP has been very generous to Sabally. The party support base are providing him with money all the time, and he's got a car. And so even after his arrest, the people stood by him. They helped him financially. Sabally could have gotten that money to at least set up a small business for himself. And the influence that he has, the popularity, the social media influence, he could use that to make something. But Sabally could have been a quintessential example to the youths of the Gambia to say, even if I'm being treated unfairly, the state machinery are all against me, I'm willing to withstand that pressure and make myself to become something. But the amount of money that Sabally was getting was at least 5 to 10 times higher than average salary of the average Gambian. He could build himself that way to inspire the youth and to discourage the perception that the quick getaway politics is like the quick gratification, rather than going through the hard work of deferred gratification and build something for the future, something that people can look at and be proud of you. But the quick getaway of succumbing to pressure to go into the incumbent, and all of a sudden you have all the luxury that you want. I don't like people who look at the politics of a destitute country and rather than being sympathetic and fighting for their cause, you are using you're seeing luxury in the midst of mass suffering. And this is what happened. The youths are dying in the back way. Sabally is talking about these things. He made himself that he is the perfect person to fight for the youth, to make sure the government, whom he classed as Keren Kafo, will stop the looting of the money and invest it on the citizens, provide healthcare. He talks about infant maternal mortality that is happening in the country. So the people who are depriving the country, the citizens, of these things, you are now with those, and instantly we are seeing you benefiting from it. And now, this constant contradiction that is kind of around our politicians is mind-boggling. People don't trust politicians. People think they lie to them and they're only for themselves. And this is just an example. It's feeding to that narrative. It's feeding to that perception, rather than him using his influence that was afforded to him to set up a new example for the people, to make them believe in themselves against all odds. If you believe in yourself, you can make something for yourself. And he had that influence. If Sabally have a little shop, a corner shop, I'll tell you, people will come from Basse, Farafenni, and they will rather come to that little shop to buy from Sabally. So this is the issue. People want quick way of getting rich, and the best way to get quick riches is joining politics. And it's unfortunate because you are making money, a life of luxury, off the back of people, some of the world's most vulnerable people. For me, I've always had my reservation on Sabally. I had my suspicion of him. I knew he wasn't sincere. I knew he wasn't genuine in what he is saying. But people turn a blind eye to it. I set up tests for him just to prove me wrong. Talk about, if you're going to talk about truth, also talk about the truth of the past, things that have happened in the past, that people have lost their lives. The TRRC was there. He was actually attacking the TRRC. You cannot tell me that you believe in justice and accountability, and rather than supporting the cause of the victims, you are attacking it and trying to discredit this. So it wasn't a genuine endeavor, but he succeeded. And now we are all at his mercy. The UDP and myself are all but are on his mercy. And what Sabally is good at, Sabally is good at switching his state of mind. From this point, he'll be quiet because he's going through, putting himself through transition. He is switching his belief in UDP and switching it to his belief in the new party. And he will try to do that through a process called also suggestion. This is administering self-stimuli, self-administered stimuli to influence your subconsciousness. He will be doing that. And doing that, even especially in a spiritual way, is even quicker. He'll use the Quran. He'll go into the verses. He'll focus on verses that will tell him that what he's done is the right thing. So he'll look for reasons constantly. Other people will give him reasons why he should not have joined UDP, why he should not be UDP, and why it's best for him to be in the NPP. So he will continue to make himself. And the subconsciousness it doesn't discriminate about what it only receives what you give it. If you tell yourself a lie continuously, you tell yourself a lie, you know it's a lie, and you keep telling yourself, your mind will eventually register it as the truth. And when he gets to that point, to know that everything that he's taking is actually true, as his mind will eventually adapt to, that's where you will see the Sabally in NPP, and that's where UDP should be worried. So right now we need a UDP to step up. The executive, they should come up with a clear direction and promote the good spirit, raise the morale, raise the spirit of the party, give us hope, make us believe that the best days are ahead of us. And I think they should find the reason why that is true. But they cannot keep us in limbo, knowing that we have seen people leaving the party, and there's suspicion amongst people that other people will be following him as well. I know one thing that he's done. People who wanted to do this and were kind of self-doubting themselves or are kind of reluctant, he has now given them the courage to do it. So I'm not going to say point fingers at people to say they'll be going. As long as you've not declared it, as long as you still stand to promote the party's objective, the party's vision, we should treat you as a genuine member, but we should give people a reason why they must support UDP. We should give people reason why UDP is the best party in that country. And I've made I don't just criticize just for the sake of. Actually, I've made suggestions to the UDP executive. I said you guys should set up an ethics committee within the party. Within the executive, have an ethic committee that would also consult with the elderly folks of the party, and all decisions, all major activities of the party has to go through this ethic committee, who will now evaluate the moral question of it, and understand exactly why these activities are complete alignment with the party's interest and the country's interest, and give its approval. Anything that is not sanctioned by the ethic committee should not happen. And this is, if we don't have this, we have like a conscious effort in evaluating things that we do, we will be sticking up with things and having to justify things that are unjustifiable, and having this paradox. And this is what has characterized the UDP from the 2016. Things have happened that are contrary to what the parties claim to stand for. And this should be avoided, because then it makes it difficult for people who now have to face questions, who now have to sell the UDP. Because if you say anything about the party, people will bring something that the party has said or done in the past that is contrary to this. And I think that's one of the suggestions that I've made to the UDP. I don't know what you think about it, but I think having an ethic committee would be good, with clear guideline about some of the things that how they should examine the moral questions of what the party does. Obviously, with respect for the elderly people who are still in the party, you can engage with these people, consult with them, and approve some of the major activities that the party does.
Yeah, so Dr. Yunus, thank you very much.
No.
So now I think you hit very, very important point. So as I said, if you look at the party structure, UDP as a political party, it's not perfect. That imperfection, I think there should be lessons learned, and those lessons learned should be applied, right? But I think the core belief and the core mandate of UDP as a political party, it's a reflection of Gambia, right? You get everyone across the board. And these are people, if you look at the history, people who came together to form UDP. And these are people, doctors, technocrats, lawyers, who actually build their own businesses or own professional careers within Gambia. They invest a lot of resources for over 20 something years. I mean, that's just a fact. So I want to make sure that folks, the supporters who believe in UDP as a political party, believe that there are better days ahead of us. They believe that UDP as a political party, because if we talk about, more people keep laughing and all that, but let's look at the current president. He is a byproduct of UDP. I mean, it is. I mean, he's from UDP. Nobody knows him. He won the presidency. And with the win after 2021, a lot of folk draw a political obituary for UDP, but UDP survived. They muscle up. They came stronger than before. Well, I know that. I'm not going to be naive somehow saying the local government elections is equate to but I think the resources, the replanning, retooling, and re-strategizing went a long way to stood up to a presidential party who has lost entirely urban Gambia. I mean, he hasn't win. He lost major seats in the main metropolitan areas. So I think this is a lessons learned. It should not demoralize anyone. It's not the end of the game. But I think lessons learned should be drawn. Strategies should be drawn, especially people, you welcome people, but you can welcome anyone, but you don't welcome people in your bedroom, right? So that's sort of the strategy here. And as UDP, and I think, when I say this and people think, but I think UDP as a political party made Sabally, gave him a lot of followers. I mean, majority of people who post Jammeh, of Jammeh, who were working in Jammeh government, they all went into hibernation. I mean, they were not existent. He came sort of, first he realigned himself MPP. He went back home. That's what I told everybody. He went home. I mean, if we think about 2017, KMC elections and stuff, he realigned himself with Papanya. He was supporting Papanya. He was not supporting UDP. So after realignment, he dumped them. He was at Barrow camp. He left Barrow. He came back to UDP. UDP welcomed him. But I think as a political party, UDP should be proud what they did for him. They put him under their shoulder when he had challenges, even legally. Folks contributed. The last case, they gave him over $300,000. They contributed. They continue to contribute. But this is who the party is. The people in it, the people who run today, they believe in core humanity. They wanted to uplift people, and that's what they did for Sabally. And my argument is, what do you have to lose? We gave him a pickup truck. We sponsor him when he's in dire straits. Now he move on. Let him move on. The party should be re-energized, retool, and continue getting at it. I mean, this is a party that's going to salvage Gambia. I'm telling you, right? You believe it or not, go out there and make all kind of accusations. But there are people who are very loyal to the party, and they've been fighting for this party for a very longest time, and they haven't relented. In terms of Mr. Dabo, that's Mr. Dabo's. You've seen the last press conference when he did. I was on for the people, by the people. So, and then one of the argument that I said was, some of the rhetoric that he put out there on the public domain, he's educated, he holds a lot of it. I mean, how couldn't he comfort himself, make sure that his rhetoric is measured? But Hussein went out there and backed him up. Visually, he was rattled, he was very angry, and he says they should not. But that's what I expect from an elderly statesman. That's what you're supposed to do. If he flip-flop, no, because this is a guy that is part of his party, and he comes on and hang out with him all the time. So he should show the same loyalty, and that's what he did. I haven't seen, but the fact that all the things that he said, my challenge to Mr. Sabally is, the challenges that you said, the stories, the horror stories you heard from voters across the country, their challenges, they don't have lack of basic medical supplies, all these things. He heard them firsthand. Let him take that message to Barrow. Tell Barrow that, hey, the status quo is unsustainable. Let's change course. Let's change the direction of this country. Let's move the country forward. He knows UDP, with respect to, he has information. What information does he have? That UDP is not going to change. What information is he going to put out to Barrow that Barrow was even part of the UDP before? He knows the modus operandi of UDP. He knows it because he was a byproduct of UDP. Barrow was even associated with UDP longer than Sabally. So he knows it. He knows the people. He knows the executive. He worked alongside with them. So I think the fact is the UDP should be even more motivated and more resolute to get at it and to restructure. Lessons learned, correct. You made a mistake, fine, but let's move on. It shouldn't be demoralizing anyone. And I tell you, all the militants, all the supporters should be very motivated to pick up themselves and keep fighting. Because you know what? A lot of people today, people in Koina, people in rural Gambia, they don't have water. They don't have running water. Police are out there. If there's, we heard stuff all the time because lack of basic amenities that they need to do. They lack that. You gave a pickup truck, brand new pickup truck to someone because he switched sides. So it's very troubling as a Gambian, and I think everyone should learn this and be motivated enough to get at it and make sure that we fight. We don't want people, seating guys and the rest of them, to be the people who are going to decide for us. When the going was tough, when people were incarcerated, like you said, people were killed. The mandate of the people, they wanted to overturn the mandate of the people. Those guys are the ones who had the high chair. And I see people giving City Bush, if you underrate, we're not going to underrate him, but we believe in morality. We believe in integrity. That's what matters. And you know what? I always said it. Sitting Yai, Momodou Sabally, everybody, they are all the same. Because when Gambia needed, when Mother Gambia needed, they didn't do anything. They were aligned with the status quo. And they know very well how to survive from one government to another. And this whole thing about political expenditure, oh, I have this big fish from APRs, I have this big fish. I think people need to move away from that. And UDP in particular, I think we need to restructure and work to gain more voters. And you know, Mr. Dabo said one thing during his last press conference. I listened to it and I deciphered it, and I spoke to several people. He talks about self-righteousness, thinking that you are better than other people, thinking that people are not welcome, thinking that the other political parties, they are less important or they have less voice in the affairs of the Gambia. I think people just needs to move away from all that stuff, Dr. Yunus, because the fact that is, you want to increase your numbers. You don't want to decrease your numbers. And if you look at the political ploy and the political positioning for 2016, you should come to realization that my attitude towards people, you cannot continue to employ self-righteousness on people. That was an issue in 2021. I don't care what people say about that he stole the votes. The guy won, he has the votes. That's why they call him out. So you need to change your strategy. You cannot continue playing the same strategy over and over and thinking that there's going to be different results. I think if I had to talk to my folks, if I had to talk to any member of the UDP, that's one thing I'm going to tell you. Make sure you strap your waist with a tie and fasten your seatbelt. Get at it. Because you know what? They talk about bread and butter issues. You talk to members, you talk to some of the executive members, they take their own income, even without being employed or don't have a stable income. But whatever they have, they share with folks that come to them every day and cry about basic needs. And I think that is core to me. And that is very, very dear. This is who we are as human beings, not someone, if he doesn't align with me, I don't care about him. I would punish him. But if he does align with, everything is free. And I think we just need to shift our mentality a little bit and concentrate on things that at a macro level, it will benefit the masses. And hopefully we can move Gambia forward. I think that's what my take is, Brother Yunus.
Thank you. I like your optimism. I think we needed such positive, uplifting messages. Quoting from Dawo and having to lift the morale. I'm sorry, I've got a bit of cold. But Zaria.
Yes, sir.
It is a crucial stage in the party, regardless of how much we want to rationalize things. We need to re-strategize and restructure if possible, because I believe the last executive meeting was the election. They kind of gave a 4-year mandate or something. So I don't know if we will have like another Congress just to reselect people. But folks in the executive, we count on them. They took the position for a reason, and they should justify. They should justify for us. We want to see them engaging in holding the government accountable. We want to see regular press conferences in some of the missteps, highlight the missteps, some of the aberrations in the government's processes, their lack of adherence to the constitution, the indiscriminate, the the arrest of citizens. We've seen that. They should be highlighting these things in the press conference, and then they should be telling people how what UDP would do differently. That is in line with what the Gambian people want and the vision for the party. So I think that's the basic expectation I personally want to see from them. I want to see more engagement in holding the government accountable. Hold regular press conferences, talk about the public, educate the public about how the country is being governed, what the government is doing, how they are mismanaging funds, and how UDP would do things differently to either divert investment into other critical sectors that would benefit the public. Try and quantify. You see, I had a chat with Lawyer Dabo when he came to London, and these are some of the things. We set up like subcommittees in the past prior to elections, and we set up like different subgroups. We work on the manifesto, and but after that, these groups should continue. Each group should continue to do research about innovative ways to govern, and also investigate the government activities in these sectors and come up with a comprehensive analysis that would inform the party leader and all that. So these are things that we should be engaging, because I know in a country where resources are very limited, we can't meet the expectation of the public overnight. And obviously with the advent of social media, information shares very quickly, and that government cannot meet the demands and the expectation of the citizens at the same rate. So we have all the alternative activities that's able to tame, the expectation and keep them engaged somehow, regardless of how insignificant. But this should go in line with other tangible activities. You see, for me, we should not settle for the fact that we are poor. Sorry, I don't want to be philosophical with you, but everything that is tangible in this life came from intangible form of effort.
No, that's true.
You know what I mean? Allah wuli hanatambe bankwenda la nga bubu nga fembo ndi bankwoto nga kepe.
One thing I like about your idea, though. Hello,
I can hear you.
Yeah. So one key point that I missed on your analysis that I didn't recap on the last segment was you talk about the money that was given to him, and and he could have created some type of venture. I mean, with the I think that was a brilliant analysis, a brilliant point that you raised, and I believe with the money, if you have such a follower, think about it. Maybe some of these things that we keep talking about, a poultry farm or what? I mean, some type of venture whereby the youths, if you have such an influence, you could have venture into that stuff and you would have benefit a lot of people.
Exactly.
Since you have and I think that is great, because one thing that you
could defy, he could defy the injustice made it again and teach young people to believe in themselves, to be independent, and not count on corrupt governments to give them a better life. If Sabally has created something, even if he have 3 eggs, he stands at Westfield. You sell that 3 eggs. You buy a crate of eggs, you sell it. I swear to God, Sharia, people will come all over. The influence that he had, people will come all over to buy his product. He will make something tangible for himself in the country. That would teach the young people that it's not about the government. I have suffered injustice. I'm quintessential in that regard. The government, where it treated me unfairly, they banned me for life, that I cannot hold public job. The private sector would not employ me because of my disagreement with government. But I am able to stand here and do it for myself. But he had that. But these people don't have a core. They believe in easy lifestyle. You just want people to give you money all the time, and you stand in front of the cameras throwing money at griots, making yourself walking with your big warumba as if you are that, you are that. Those things cannot impress me because it's too cheap. Everything that he had was too cheap. Just because you can talk and manipulate people, because I see manipulation in anything that he says. He knows how to appeal to the instinct, right? Some excitement and get people and but you know, if God give you something like that, use it properly. Don't just be something that you think, oh, I am this, I'm like the best person, and now you are succumbing to the cheap way of surviving, going there, lying, doing things that are contrary to what you've said before, and now you are joining the people who you believe are thieves. You actually dehumanize them. You don't just see them as thieves. You said they are squirrels. And I don't know, I've seen you telling people, oh, maybe he has like an intimate relationship with the public. He knows their problem. And now he can go to the president and tell them. The president knows how the people are. The president is from the people. But all his life, he lived and breathed poverty. But in 7 years now, Barrow don't even speak about poverty. He doesn't have a policy to eradicate poverty. He doesn't have a policy to end the vicious cycle of intergenerational poverty that he himself is a victim of. And it's very sad. But then the people have a complete different priority. And rather than holding the government on his priorities to deliver for the people, they all facing the UDP, criticizing the UDP. Whatever Barrow does, they will give him an excuse and somehow divert the blame onto the UDP. Everybody knows I had some serious disagreement with the UDP in the past, but I never lost faith in the party, because I've been associated with the party since childhood. I voted for UDP in the past. I was one of those kids who in Brickhammer who runs after that was convoy here, and so it's a party that I would not lose faith in just because some of the mishaps that they did in that short spell of being in the power. I think we can go into UDP and try to influence some changes so that the UDP. That's why, and I'll say this here: many people see me even now that I can stand in public and criticize or even disagree with UDP and the party leader. For me, I think I'm very worried about the perception also, because already there's not just Gambia, but Africa has a very poor belief in terms of politics and government. So whatever UDP does that is wrong, if it's not corrected, if it's not acknowledged that it's wrong, people see that as that is normal. The young people, future leaders, see that that's how politics is about, that's how things should be done. For me, I would rather just accept the fate that our current generation, have failed the Gambia, than also setting up a future generation of Gambians for failure by not telling them the right way of doing things. So these are some of the problems I have. But if I can get UDP, that UDP, a lot of people look up to UDP as the party of the poor people. We see UDP as the party of enormous potential, a party who, if Gambia has any chance to, the Gambia have any chance to make it in our lifetime, UDP is the party that will deliver that for us. So
absolutely.
We should show the country that we are a serious party. We are a serious party that is ready to govern the Gambia in an inclusive and accountable and transparent way, where everybody in that country will see themselves in the party. Every citizen of that country will have a way of making their voices heard and being able to contribute. And if UDP, like you said, ideologically it's very pragmatic, and but I've seen that people are also taking advantage of the poor people, pretending that they stand for their interests, but they are only standing for themselves. And this is why I was saying, when the parliament were taking what, $60,000 vehicle, what, $3 million to $4 million is for a car, that is contradictory to the party's belief. The people who are accepting those vehicles are being insensitive to the plight of the people that they claim to represent.
Did Sekou wants to come in? I'm not sure. I think he's mentioned something.
Sekou said it. Okay. Let me join him. I'm sure he'll have something to say. Well, MB Kurubali, I would like to hear from you, though. I don't know. If you want to come in, you can accept. If not, just ignore. I know you probably
No, but use here's another thing. I think, some of the comments, especially Baptiste Sanyang, who is making these comments about morality and all that. We're not gonna go into no personality contest here or personality test. But I think you definitely need to have something to learn from UDP. If you know the history of UDP, the people who formed this party, the people who fought for this party up to today. And I think if you do, you understand the structure. I say stuff that people don't disagree, but we have passionate debate. That is why it's a party of the solo Sandings, the Nogoin Jais, Lamin Marong and all that. That's why they need to continue. You can knock me down, but you didn't take me off the game. You need to get up and get at it. And I'll let MB come and join us and add what he has to say. MB, go ahead.
Good afternoon. You guys, Yunus, congratulations, by the way. Congratulations. I don't know if you've made the announcement, but I know you told me privately.
No, yeah, I just want to give okay, I think said delete also here.
No, I mean, I'm just gonna listen. I mean, you're making a lot of sense, and I think, just to begin, this is the kind of conversation we need to have as a people, because the conversation has been dumbed down to to who is going where, who is being bought, who is being sold, to this kind of discussions, to understand, like you say, what the UDP needs to do to make sure that every Gambian sees themselves there. Because, I mean, truth be told, we're the party that is going to save this country. If there is going to be any type of change over here, we do have what it takes. And to be very honest with you, we do have the talent. We have young people like you, young people like, Sekou Sedili, and I think we have the ability to tap into the technocrats in that country. But at the same time, we do have some challenges, and those challenges, like you said, this is not new to politics. Every political party you see does have those challenges. But I think if we have this type of conversation, rather than sitting, Gambians are good at one thing. Mm-hmm. We're good at seeing the worst. Yeah. Like, for example, what Barrow is doing right now, buying people, and we look at it as good politics. Whilst it is not good politics, it's actually very bad politics. Mm-hmm. It's bad for us. It is changing. Yesterday, I spoke to a very prominent youth in the country, and the person told me, the person is not a United Democratic Party mm-hmm. member, and he told me that I am very scared of the direction that we're heading, given that the government is now engaged in buying, they're going after a lot of people. There's a blitz going on in town where they're going after everybody. December was their target. Originally, just to give you guys information, there was going to be a shift in government. There was going to be a lot of changes internally, but the plan changed for them to start going and buying people. And all the youths that are there, prominent people, mistakes were made in 2021, where we've seen very prominent, educated people, even in the diaspora, being compromised. And today we've learned to understand that that was a big mistake. They're going at it again to go buy people. And this is where we need to be very careful, because people don't like what's happening there. So we need to stop trying to make these politicians, sound like very smart. Like when Barrow did what he did in 2021, some of the most influential people came and say, "Oh my God, Barrow's politics, this guy is a political animal." He's not. He's using our own resources to go after our people and make them poorer, and then try to stay in power. So I like this kind of conversation because I think it needs to happen. And I know, people are very critical of you. Sometimes, you say things. You're like the Charles Barkley of Gambian politics. Charles Barkley says stuff on ESPN and TNT that everybody wants to say, but nobody wants to say. So it's one of those things. Yunus and I have had serious debates behind the scenes. He knows it. Every topic he posts, we don't go online, but we go behind and we go at it. So,
you like digga. Anything we discuss it. But I sometimes
Mantima. It's like I like this because remember Kerry Young. As a matured individual, Sariang is, we have to engage each other and stop the making fun of each other in politics. Because as we are doing that, making fun of each other, trying to pretend like, oh, score 1 for UDP, oh, score 2 for NPP, oh, PDI score. The Gambian people are suffering, and this is the core. People are dying in the back way. I mean, people cannot put food on the table. I mean, I have gone into URR during the 2021 campaign. I've ventured into some of the villages. If you get into some of these homes, if you see some of the women, if you see the hygiene of kids, if you see some kids, those kids have no ability to make a difference for themselves, let alone someone else. And that weight is going to come back on the government because they either have to survive, through jobs, or they're going to become criminals and make life inconvenient for us. So, I'm going to continue on listening. I like this type of conversation. That's why I log in. I've really slowed down on the whole rhetoric because our politics has come down to making fun of each other. And right now, some of us that were in the struggle 20 years ago, we're not kids anymore. We're adults now. We're parents, grandparents. So we also have to mature our level of conversation and understand that what we did 15 years ago, 20 years ago, we can't do that now. These people that are in government right now, they're not smarter than Sariang. They're not smarter than you. They're not smarter than me. But they don't have the ability that we have. So they have to, in order for them to survive, they have to dumb down the conversation. And that is what is exactly happening. They're dumbing down the conversation, and we're down there with them dancing with it. Let's elevate to what you're doing right now and start having this type of conversations. But I'll continue listening. Thank you so much, Sariang. Yunus, just to let the people know, we do have those UDP banners, those Swiss banners, those beautiful banners. We're selling them $5 a piece. And everybody is swearing. Sariang, we're gonna send you a whole bunch of them so you can put them all on your.
Sounds good. Thanks, man.
Okay.
Where's our brother man at? Sadie Lee, where's brother man at?
But I think he dropped.
He did?
Send me some of the armrest bands and I will distribute it here. Is it what, £5? £5?
Yeah, £5 a piece. I know you used to sell GDF t-shirts, so I know you're a very good salesman. So we'll definitely send you some. But guys, I am going to go ahead and drop and continue listening to you guys. I'm sure you're gonna get more people in. But this is good. This is what social media is about. It's not about going there and it's good to have fun on social media, but also the people that follow you, follow me, follow Sariang, they want to hear us talk. They want to hear us talk about what are the problems? How do we fix these problems? It's not about ratings. It's not about how many people watch you. It's just about putting a message out there, and gradually the message will stick. It took us 22 years to stick the message about Yaya Jammeh, but when it stuck, everybody woke up and said, oh my God, what happened? What have we been doing? I honestly believe what we're doing is gradually going to happen too. Barrow doesn't have anything to offer, and I'm not saying this because I'm a UDP person, but look at the state of the country. Nothing is happening economically. All we see is that people are switching parties, people are, doing this and that. But, hopefully another Saturday or Sunday, it's Christmas Eve over here, time to go prepare the food and, get ready and stuff. But I will continue listening. So thank you so much, guys.
MB. I know you.
Thank you.
Thank you, MB. Saria.
Yes, sir.
So
well, I like to hear from Mr. Sadili. I don't know whether he's still around. So
I don't know. He's kind of, folks are a bit.
Okay. All right. Well, it's almost 3 o'clock here, man. So it was great. Good to have a conversation with the able Doc Yunus. And as I said, the conversation must go on. And I think there shouldn't be any demoralization within the party. The parties needs to build more resilient and get at it. Because as MB said, the party, that the current president is on, and with everything post 2021, what they have achieved, I think lessons learned, strategies shifted, and build more resilient and get at it. I mean, that's just the truth. You can say whatever, but I think the people, the core supporters, the people who run the day-to-day administration of that party, you will not call them that they are getting into any scandal or you can call their morality into question. Absolutely not. They are very dedicated and they are very focused to ensure that we build a more perfect union. And I think you and I sitting out here talking about it, I think that's what it is. The core belief of Gambianism. How do we minimize the risk associated back way? How do we build a Gambia whereby it will be self-sustained? We're all getting old, right? At some point, we will go back to Gambia. I've seen more people, Senegalese going back to their country. I would like to see that someday. But there's an environment. Yunus, you went back. You want to build a business. You could not do it. You come back because the environment was not set up. That is the conversation I think we all need to have. That is what I see UDP. These folks, we should be dedicated. We should be able to face these challenges face on. If the party is perfect, we're not going to sit here and talk about it. All right. But our brother came in, so I'll let him speak.
Hi, good evening. Good evening. My nephew, Yunus, and the man at the from the for the people by the people, Sari and Maro. well. First of all, I would like to seize this opportunity to wish our Christian brothers and sisters Merry Christmas in advance tomorrow, and Happy New Year in advance to everybody. And we wish them all the best. So, and Yunus, I've been listening. I've been in and out. I think I had when Tukulor was on, and I had few bits here and there. But you and I spoke about this on the down low, and I expressed my position to you. I'm speaking here because I'm one of the people and from the UDP's media platforms, and we are part of UDP Diaspora's media. In terms of the executive, I'm actually the deputy PR and spokesperson of the UDP Diaspora Executive. So we have taken a position on this, and it's not because the reason I think we should focus on the bigger picture. I just want to piggyback on the point that I had Yunus reference when, with all the problems that we are confronted with, our country is confronted with today, abject poverty, the level of dysfunctionality of the whole society, and the poor governance structure. Some people, obviously, for some reasons, just want to focus on UDP. And this is the disheartening part. This is the unfortunate part. When it is supposedly the NPP government that is presiding over our $1.2 billion economy, and they should be the ones that we should hold to account the fullest. But I don't understand, and UDP is now the punching bag for some people. And this is, we need to move away from this narrative. We are on opposition party, and obviously we are not perfect. Like, I think we'll all admit that things happen, some mistakes happen, and we just like any institution, we will be dealing with those things. We can raise our hands and say whatever UDP does or whatever we're doing is always right. No, that would be irrational to say. We have done things that could have been done better, and it's a learning curve for us. And people will say, I've heard some even from the UDP family, that UDP is responsible for this, and I think that's unfair criticism. They said people just come to the party and we elevate them to the highest position, and down the lines they just decide to abandon us. But you're gonna fall to that. Like, Yunus joined the UDP, and if Yunus has the talent and the qualification to become UDP's campaign manager, why not? We cannot say Yunus is just new in the party, so that's not a yardstick. Because from the day you join UDP, like the party leader always emphasized that we are all equals. I joined UDP, I think, after 2016. Here today, I'm the chairman of UDP chapter. I've been there just let's say 7 years. But the onus is on me to live up to my words. The buck stops at me. It's not the party. If somebody comes to the party, and I know I have said this to somebody yesterday, let's examine ourselves. Who amongst us here will raise his or her hand up to say, you have not been disappointed by what Mr. X or Madam Y before? You have trusted people who, based on their utterances and what they have sold to you, you entrust them. You actually trusted these people, and down the line, they decided to do what they want to do. Human character is very difficult to know. You cannot put any strategy in place to say we're going to stop this kind of things occurring. It can even occur tomorrow, because that's the nature of human being. Because I say, Husedeli, you shouldn't be judgmental on me. You should judge me on what I tell you, and say, oh, say who is a diehard UDP. And if tomorrow I decide to do otherwise, then it's up to me. It's not the party. It's not that, oh, UDP could have done things better. Why did they give this position to say Husedeli? I have heard this many times, and I think it's unfair. UDP did what we're supposed to do. We give opportunity to everybody that's part of the party to vie for any position that you want, and through the democratic process. So if that person decides to take a U-turn, all right, and admits whatever the individual has said, because for me, I think integrity and dignity of a human being is priceless. No amount of money. There's no monetized. You cannot monetize it. It's the human, because when it comes to integrity, there's no yet is for rich or the poor. It's just on you. So I think what is important is, like, all the words that I'm saying about Barrow today, come on, for cry out loud, if tomorrow I decide to join Barrow, that is the lowest of the law. That will be the lowest of the law, because I have said a lot of negative things about Barrow. For me, I have surpassed that. And I think for me, even if I'm going to be a beggar, people are different. Even if I am going to say, today I'm jobless, Yunus, I need help, or something, I would prefer that. I'm speaking for myself. I would prefer that to say, after all the things that I go on UDP Bantaba, on my Facebook, every day I'm saying Barrow's government is useless, Barrow is that, Barrow is incompetent. And today, if I decide, this is me, but everybody is different. People are different. But one fundamental thing that I always tell UDP members, and I think UDP is such a big party that sometimes it's so difficult for us to control this. It is people's fundamental right to join whatever group that they want to group. We cannot also take that away from the individual. There will be moral questions. There will be moral question whether this person should do this. But you cannot say the person doesn't have the right. Some people have it's all in Gambia. This doesn't happen a lot in the West. But in Gambia, it is the order of the day. People, and this idea of cross-carpeting, you hardly see them cross-carpeting to an opposition party. They always cross-carpet to the incumbent because of the monetary gain. Do you see people moving to DOI or GDC? Never. Don't tell me GDC is not. If Mama Kande was the president of Gambia today, GDC was in government, they would all be moving to GDC. We have seen this, Yunus, when APRC was there. People were just joining APRC. Do you hear anybody joining APRC today? When was the last time you see that people have crossed capital to APRC? They don't. So I think it's the level of poverty in the country, and it's not that may not be easy, but it's just these people, like Yunus said, they want to use the taxpayers' money as an easy way of living, because people don't want to try on their own. They want to just align themselves to the status quo. The likes of Sidinjai has been living that way all his life. All right, whoever comes to power, he just wants to join and be close to you because it's an easy way out. So I think these are the things that we should be focusing. We need to change our mentality. Sorry, and I feel deeply troubled when I hear highly qualified Gambians, people who have gone they've gone to university, they burned the midnight candle, they wrote their dissertations and theses, and they're supposed to think outside the box. Their horizon supposed to be bigger. When they stoop so low, thinking that without Barrow, you cannot make ends meet. And to me, this is really sad. I think this is why I said people should even make this a topic. Whatever the case is down to the individual. It's about integrity, and nobody can take away the integrity question here. For me, is the common denominator here. Look at yourself. That's why before you open your mouth, say who said it, before I open my mouth, I should think a lot. That's why I have criticized a lot about Barrow government. They have approached me like they approach a lot of people. They may have approached Yunus or other people. I said to them flat, no, over my dead body would I join NPP. I would never join NPP. That one I have made it clear, because this government they can't take us to the promised land. But what we have to also focus, UDP members, we cannot, be talking about this issue. I think we should not even, I know Yunus, you are bringing this as a general discussion, but we have advised. I went to the UDP chapter forums and I advise our people, let's depart from this topic. We have better things to do. We cannot be talking about one individual who has decided to move. We have seen people who have moved from APRC to UDP, NPP. There are a lot of people, they keep moving. These political chameleons. That's what I call them. And it's all out of greed. It's not out of anything. Because to me, every human being, you should always, if you look at it, you say a lot of filthy things about this person. And you think those people, you see, today if I join NPP, common sense tells me NPP will not even take me seriously. We know ourselves, Gambians, in front of you, they will say good things. When you leave, they will even ridicule you. They'll make mockery of you. They will say, but it's a fully nyala. Near Cody, Iba for Unko, like him go alabulate, either Malben your call Duma, Elake Kuntala, Gontolingal and the Kukurula Samanaja, Naman and Lafina. But when they see you, they will try to celebrate you. But once you are not there, this is what they will tell you, whether you know it or not. And that is the gospel truth. So that's why you should preserve the dignity for yourself and don't allow to put yourself in that precarious situation where you make a mockery of yourself. So this is what I think we should all safeguard our integrity. Yunus, you have criticized UDP before. I say who said I have criticized UDP before when I was on Freedom. I have criticized UDP. But what I did, before I joined UDP, a lot of people don't understand. When I was on Freedom, I was an independent anchor. I was criticizing all political parties, including PPP, GDC, and UDP. Why should I spare UDP? I was an independent anchor doing civic education on Freedom. I should not just spare UDP. But when I became convinced that most of the things that I was saying about UDP, I publicly apologized to the leadership of UDP. And this is what people don't honor. I apologized on Freedom Radio, and I said some of the things that I was saying, I misjudged them. And when I criticized, today, before you join NPP, I think you should come out and apologize to say, and eat your own words and say, you know what? Everything that I have been saying about this man was a lie. That's the first thing that you should say. Take ownership of your words and say, everything that I have said 2 years ago, I say who said it, I lied to the Gambian people. You should be brave enough to say that. Then you can even go, and even that one is not going to remove the moral question. but it's going to make it a little bit better because at least you have come out to tell the world that for the past 2 years, all the ranting that I've done on Bantaba, Baro is this, hey, me wulia fo, lante Gambia on telling a wulia fo. Baro nge heko tu nyanga wulia le fo ma. Niyo okay. Then he say move yeta join Kellen Kafoto. No, that's what, you know, that's what should have been done fair. That's what should have been done. But I cannot today if I say Barola most of they are corrupt. I call these people enablers of a rotten system. I have described them. Then I would go to Bantaba and say, you know what, Gambia don't say who said Lenata, Nkonyumu rotten system all the Barimbal Danila de Baromu Salihino Leti, Baromu Teneti, Ndese who said Lintelenga Wulia Falie, Barombe apologize la. Then Ningo okay follow. Then the next day instead I join Baro. Yalo molu nyanta ku understand na. Hadama dingo ila fokumo inyanta ka safeguard. Okay? So we have to, this is what I just want to add. I don't want to I haven't made any public statements about it because nte malutale. Ya understand it? Kendingo nyintela ndo malom. But I praise this guy on Bantaba. I have said a lot of good words and I have said, I stuck my neck out for him. I have said that this guy mu loyally solity. And well, a lot of people call me, say who said really, itelega for Bantaba 10 in 10, but I feel in malutale, that's why I couldn't say a word because nte malutale, nte namana expect, but in Gambia politics right now, mbuka ku de fola je ma understand, but after final word men fola until UDP nkolu fana nyantan fana yamarla, then ngal blal yalla program okay. UDP nkolu because being ajele ko Bajamba Bojang fanana audio funtira. Bajamba Bojang's audio, Bajamba Bojang came to debunk that. I think we should be very, very careful. Every time Dick and Harry goes to this WhatsApp for you, hey, go Yunus Hydara fanankara NPP le. Iko kari kata NPP le. Almami Fandital is on his way. Why don't we stop this? Because you don't have any proof. You are just, it's a hearsay. And in fact, what is troubling, until UDP we are creating a lot of commotion and chaos in our party unnecessarily by making people paranoid because everybody will get up and go and yell about press. Hey, because who said live on Tatola NPP? What him fence or it about say we are announced follow Kakata NPP, then you mean I'm for like Yafo. Nyaon Jorta Mampetea. Mama Kande Kata Janal. Kari Kata Gama. Alinga wo base stop. May UDP Ngolu Dal. And therefore I'm gonna make a program on this on Bantaba.
Okay.
And I want to advise our people. UDP Ntolu me very difficult situation also. So Ntolu na messaging Manyanda come hot. We shouldn't shoot ourselves on the foot. Today, Bajamba Bojang, Modo Lenyanta Fala Sawunta, but until UDP called me, ma for UDP called, but na forum there are a lot of messaging. They could be NPP guys disguising themselves as UDP as well. Because in forum you don't know who is who. So that's why I'm going to drop. But Gambia, Yunus, Sariang, Butu Malong Nantofo Balikari, ila co-host on For the People by the People. Ngalate, he's going to have a field day. Because he's so happy that this has happened. But if I go, I follow UDP.
No, but say wallahi, Diamadron, he has a different take though. I'm telling you right now, because every time, come in for tenting, you know, I'll take more than that diameter. At a funny mean for Mintiko. Hani ke ba party leader ko ite fama min fo yankafo ko you know malutala nga kumofo but say we should not ite manyana malawala because that's who you are. You embrace everyone. Ya jele ko ibadi wala ila party anata wolto and all that. I don't think nobody should regret that, and I think the purpose of this conversation today is to reinforce that core. Ni moy ku kela ay ku jaw kela amanke ko ite daji ko anite ni ite ka cool kenya mi nyento falinala because ate wala kela malon fe kana ponje but afane wala fode honestly speaking I afolo ko keba ringo ako keba nyinko keba ya ay nyin kanule ay amutala ka dingo anu UDP call be na telefone ya embrace for example ota ka foko biri amuta UDP call ko di jama dia I will be for it.
I can tell you here we raised 400,000. Almost half a million. But ndolfo nga fate fo ne because nga half le diala Nko because party yo book about problem ko is a modo for mutano. Strategically, we reserve the other 200,000 ko just in case ni modo mutata legal fee. So, but at a single-handed, at a for the public, we got $200,000. So, but yalon ka for them in Malta. Yalon mafoko nte I'm responsible. But until you, mbari ndingo beja nte na problem so to nyinke ndingo la kuala. Anyininka. Because it almost like a problem so and I even went after him. Nka go, you know, this man. Abe doku kendola UDP abe cool kick and fatama. Even we, you know, off record, at ne what some negotiations that went behind the scene, Yunus. All because in Lafita unity la sambala na party okono. Because your party okono we all have our bots. Nta say who say the ngana bot sotole. Yunus yala bot sotole. Mote UDP sa for mona mensi bulo ni for you are perfect. Hada badi ngofo le perfect. But we have to accommodate one another in the interest of the party. And but Yunus later he yielded to that. I call him Bebula, and but wala nankai ko the other day you are vindicated. Okay? And a lot of people said he's vindicated because nte maltele because nte you know bring anyin kibaro mo foloke. Nte moment follow ya fonye. The person who told me very very high level close to party from olale. I am commanding. Akonye ko nyine keri nkai ko no it's never possible. Nko France ko mi ko c'est pas possible. Atekela. You understand? Nko hani yang commandi mbe from my sleep. Iko nyikendi ngotara mbavula modo lo mbaratente. I stuck my neck out. Okay? So I just dismissed the information. But I was shocked. Okay, bring a resignation oje. Nko this is normal. Probably yalo momo right to resign from the party. Maybe you're not happy with few things there. Maybe because in the penalty, you know, on your own or double the political com. But mune surprise. Bring you go now. This is now real. You know what? Nandale from a cello tape because aku ne anu ayatina like Gambia political side. I am not going to trust nobody. Therefore, say who said I cannot trust because at the end of the day, kule kakao banko kan seriang me alonko akake nene majolati. Nene majolo keta jang because ntete lola mammodo lo ntete lola nga kafo kumandi kereng kafola. Therefore, nga na duwo ko. Ntakela wallahi ntakela molu man kilim bari ntese vous edili ntakela. So at the end of the day, but like I said, people are different, everybody is different, you understand, Sariam, but we need to elevate our moral the morality testing and the standards on our morality at that country because there is a lot of opportunism in that country. And there is one thing also, Sariam atolo nyantaka mem bambandi wolo nying mansa kunda fanang ika kudo ke baro ala mansa kunda nibe UDP they will apply the law to the letter on you. We saw it in Alaji Conte's case. They accuse him of money laundering. Alaji Conte used to be one of the main financiers of United Democratic Party. Baroya condition finer NPP, and he yielded to that pressure. He succumbed. Barola ko konyade ako succumbed. Okay, he succumbed. Okay, Barola kabola succumbed. Okay. Succumbed to the pressure of the government. You understand? So, and Alaji Conte joined. Now we have seen in case of my younger brother, because we all know that he has this ban from holding public office. So, now the world is watching. We are all watching. Would MPP, would Adama Barrow now apply that amnesty to say, now we will remove this ban? And that will be really a disservice to the Gambian people because the laws should be applied to every citizen, irrespective of their political affiliation. Barrow's government should be ashamed to apply the law only on the opposition. That means they are very dishonest.
Sorry if I may interject. You see, our people use the religious, the Quran as like their moral compass, something that validates their actions. And you said Barrow is applying the laws of the Gambia selectively. But when Barrow was getting sworn in, he held the Quran to the Almighty God that he will execute the functions of the presidency without fear or favor or ill will. But wait, control be mu jobe kata jahanna bole ma fo muna na mol be nyin kumol fola
yalo mbari dingo nanga kuma kilin foye mbari no nanga kuma kilin foye yalo nte ngafo banta bale ko Gambia moyi hako tunya bari mbejum folale okay Gambia fon tiri la le siyata muslimoti yalo ke fongo tiri bankoto ka sali aka sum ani ka ke muslimo because yemen fo baro to nyalom baro ni baro mu muslimo ta believe alala alquran mo manya na chahan lala baro ya bulo alquran kan ko abe Gambia marala tilingoni to nya kan ate mo fevola so that means for the NPP lo or UDP or GDC loi nyanta lale kanni but it's saying alaji konte la ko fela data man sakunda bako kuma fala ko because I joined the NPP le so nyin ken dingo fanan there are rumors malam fo to nyalom ko yo do ko le dial okay
nani kendingo la moena ga Qurano code ayo me ay tandiko ay menketen wolom dinkende yat
bari Gambia be wala nyama yalon Gambia molun te kadi wala nante say ngafole de moli hakutunye mo jama men ka alquranu kumandi teng kalquranu konte Yunus mbuga la jama balade ni alquran aya ko lalu mafo bede bari biko ngaji na politician wol jama bala bije alquran na boroda may fati afana gatul alquran le ko la you understand me so at the end of the day mansa kunda man nyanna wokela but binin député dole diamta iko akonya ko baro ngamira loi sembo dialale na lafta amnesty kela as amnesty kono on this so we are watching whether they are going to apply that because now kendingo nyinko abe NPP le you understand so maybe for about allow ko ban left so then Gambian also tonyaje ko baro ya bulola alquran o menkam aman serious ala aman telling Gambian welcome
so
you know
I don't think he's gonna lift that ban as it is because I think he will try and get him a job in the private sector.
In the private sector, yeah.
Because I think it will be kind of gullible on his part, knowing that this is someone whose words mean nothing to him, and then having to just jump into uplifting that ban from him. Because Barrow would think that's kind of the leverage he has on him. So he's not allowed to work in the public sector, but he's allowed to work in the private sector. And I don't know if what I've heard is true that he's a deputy manager in one of the banks. I think that's more like probable thing that he would do, put him in the private sector. And then he can do his 9 to 5, get all his thing, and then he do his for NPP outside, and then Barrow would sponsor man. But I don't think that's probably something that would happen later on once they
let's see how these things will all pan out. So this is a lot of several possibilities out here with Barrow. He is capable of doing anything. I don't trust him, but what you said is also possible. I think they wouldn't like to do it in such a manner. Probably, yes, you say they would just say, okay, let's give them outlet in the private sectors and we'll leave we just put the ban there, But anyway, thank you for the discussion. I thank you, Sariam. Let me leave you guys so maybe other people would like to join in. Thank you.
I was going to say, if anybody wants to come in for 1 or 2 minutes, you can come in and say a word or two. That would be fine if you want to join us.
All right, thank you, and happy festive period to you guys. Thank
you very much, Segu Sedley, for joining us. So thank you very much. Okay, it's yesterday that Sarian contacted me to have a conversation on this issue. So I decided to join him today, and we can bring the topic, because I think like what Sehu Sedili say, this is something that shouldn't be a topic, and we should just move on. It's just one person who is left, but I don't think we can. I don't think that's the right move to do, because we have made this guy very important in our public life, in our political discourse, and he has switched side into something that is completely in such dramatic fashion. That's something that it's a move that is completely contrary to what he has been saying, and we all know that majority of his followers will no doubt have that as we have seen in the social media space, the conversation was about this. So it cannot be we talk have we have we have to rationalize. We have to talk about where things went wrong. Sekou Sedili made it clear that the party is open to all Gambians. Anybody can come and contribute. If people are suited for certain positions, they should be allowed to hold it. And I believe that to a certain extent. I believe that people also should be scrutinized. People should be vetted. People who are not just the qualification. We want people with impeccable character and moral standing to be the face and voice of the party. And not only this guy has demonstrated to be completely opposite to these things in the past. He turned a blind eye to the suffering of the people. He turned a blind eye for the killing and the maiming and the torture of the people. Even when they came to the United States and people were protesting, the folks who people have died were there, asking for where the heads are and all that. And he's the one who came out to confront with the people, confront the people who are protesting to Yahya Jammeh, asking for their loved one who has gone missing. So this guy has gone at a great length to counter everything that UDP has stood for, to promote an evil, a murderous regime. And then even post Jammeh era, he was bragging about it. This guy was bragging about being the Secretary General of a murderous government. For me, I cannot understand. I don't think it is right to get that kind of person and just put it at the forefront of our advocacy. And knowing that he has showed no sign of remorse, he has shown no regret of his action. And if you ask him to come up with explanation about things that he's done in the past, he ignored. Even the apology that people claim that he's made were insincere. He said, okay, ninga mo tora nung den aliyam funyam. Sorry. Don't tell me what niya mo tora. That's hypothetical. Oh, it kendingo. But you deeply regret it, and you want people to give you another chance, and you will continue to fight for what is right. We are forgiving people. I'm not an evil person. I'm one of the most reasonable person that you will meet. But I want someone to tell me exactly what they're saying, they mean it. I wouldn't be that cheap jumping at unfair rhetoric that you make. I can make those, but I want you to tell me exactly who the hell you are.
So Yunus, I think you raise very valid points, and I listened to Sekou Sedili, but I think the thing is, I think these are conversations that we need to have, because some people might think that maybe certain person departure from the party way party sake. What until I believe and until I'm the UDP was intact when another Nanje party supporters are very energized and they embrace him 100%. About a J, party nyante continue silola ye fam put together and move forward. I think there's a lot of challenges facing that country, and I think people need to be resilient to get and fight what they believe in, and that is to ensure that there is a government for all, not for limited people, or trying to create some type of all the transitional justice system or any policy, it's part of the transition process, has not been implemented. I think we just need to move away from that, build Gambia, deal with challenges, a lot of youth migration going through the back way and all that. And I think that should be the conversation. But It was great having you, and I think someone joined, right? So I will let you have.
He's been.
What is his name though?
That's right. Ibrahim.
Okay,
I'm Ibrahim.
Okay,
But my
sounds
name
good,
on
man.
Facebook is Mansakunda.
Okay, Ibrahim. So it was great to have a conversation with you.
Okay. All right, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Interesting conversation.
All right, thanks. Yeah.
All right. Na brother, inimbara.
Inimbara.
Yeah.
Kachawe diari. But I alien for be for you know. Banko nyimbita ka nyame ajikla teyo warta bake, you know, especially funding ke ol me alo ye funding suite, you know. Men ye funding suite ni wol ka mateng. So ntol dinni ol men be duma nkamune tuwol yeje. So that mean Gambia la kuwa kata nyame. I think mol manyan relent la, mol manyan relax la, mol nyanta focus la nga Gambia lon di silo kang silo me alonko ntol dingola ni mamaringol kontol alfal nga menu tranu, you know, value menu be Gambia no. You know, Gambia would more boy you kusi valley swal ka hadi sate ringol do. Ibe mutalali e du fara. But what value bele be faka. No integrity, nothing.
Right.
It wo pol nem bevo lonim baro tema. You know, Dr. C said the same thing. You know? But my biggest problem is Badibun man, use man. Yin Badibunka boyo every Friday and na kebari wa nyankata o be do mo man. Go Badibun for go phone me ga yen nyankata o jo man. No, I'm serious, man. Inyanda go phone me kala na pabi wala nyankata o jo man.
Nyankata mani photo for Saddam Londa bari.
I tell you this, man. But really, this is good. This is a good conversation, man. Nyanda dindingol nga hamodi dindingol la nga banku kano di dindingol la. Yaje o banku fankang I think kuol kata nyame o banku kano nyanda o dundila na syllabus ol kono le birin dindingol dindindi because yen nyim banku janja America jan dindingol hani nyim homeless ol be furi nyame ni ko be feale la nyim banku man.
Tetura is also a Badibunka.
Yeah, I think I have a problem.
I'll be high.
I have a big problem with them, man. They na pa bi rong la nyankata my boy ba jola le man. No banko
Nyanda bi Bari ibarata nyanga mola sai la first state house afal.
No wala je bari abala fa warta bake definitely abala fa warta bake banko dindewol be jikla man ye kuma do ko jango kuma yata bake because bari nyun ko katale yo go phone me men kai hani Sabally hana a poultry farm won London as can millionaire in Gambia easily and that will set a standard to Gambia funding ko ka tandila ko hani mansa kunda e ibali kulela if you fan samban wala ye you know atanyanta o standard le set la numfa I tell you,
next call of the idea. Longa kuma kilim for more combatant in or dual. Yeah, doing where what you see Duncan. Right, guys, call I'll read.
I know.
Saferoji, alaka technology.
Yeah, that's true.
Sometimes. Due to the heat of the moment, you can say something to regret. But I can't commentate. Ala ndende pamba manga mwela katalan koto matanga kutoya. Kama ya amani setano evalne. But wobuka tinda yesuto inise. Some of these things that you say are coming out of genuine love because you are being frustrated with the fact that you see things and you think it shouldn't be the things that you should be saying, and you get frustrated. When we took over from the Yahya Jammeh time, things were different. It wasn't a normal transition. We are going from dictatorship. We have a lot of things that went wrong. And for me personally, from the start, I started supporting because I fought hard. I put my money in. I did everything to install, to effect that change of government. I won't go through the list of things that I've done, but I know I've sacrificed my own personal time. And what election time was a very important time in my education history because I remember the day that Solo Sandeng was killed. Solo Sandeng, may God bless his soul. I organized a protest at the Scottish Parliament. I was supposed to be writing my dissertation. That was one of the most important moments. But no one be landed. I stood up for what I believed is right. So when this government went in, there are two things that I didn't see them doing. I didn't see them acting with urgency. I didn't see them communicating effectively with the public. And this is where my forces are. So I was quick to jump on these people to try to push them to do what they're supposed to do. But they weren't doing that. And also fundamentally, is the victims. I have serious disagreement with the borough government when it comes to the victims. And I put majority of that blame on the UDP, not because I think UDP should be the one, but I have higher expectation for the UDP. And then majority of these victims are coming from UDP. We say it, but I believe at the time UDP was doing the name of these victims more for political purposes rather than standing up for the victims. When elections coming, we see these banners, we see the names coming up. But then I said, when you go in, you have to have a national policy to provide respite for the victims. Give them, allow them to see medical support instantly. Allow them access to psychosocial support instantly. Allow them to financial facilities where they can have issues that will take care of their rent and their food. Because these people came to government on the back of the victims. Prioritize them. Many of the victims have already died before this government lifted a finger to do anything for them, before the TRRC was set up, before the recommendation. And here we are 7 years later, we see no justice. The reparation that they provided the victims was severely inadequate. So these are things that they are just not moral things to do. They are the smart things to do. It's about showing appreciation for people. It's about being compassionate to the Gambian people. If you go into government, your priorities have changed, and everyone is thinking of positioning themselves for future politics to maintain and preserve themselves. But then the victims were relegated into obscurity. I didn't believe that. And these are things that will flare my temper, and I will say things. And this one of those moments, I went on the Facebook and made that prayer that they will constantly bring up to remind me. And I told the UDP, even at some point, I expected UDP folks will bring that up. But I told them, I said, I expect UDP to do the right thing for the Gambian people. And if UDP is looking to do government, go into government and not do what is right by the Gambian people, then I still stand by that prayer. Right. I have higher expectation for the UDP, despite how I disagreed with them while they were in office. I still have faith with the party because this is a party that I've always been familiar with since my childhood. Like I said, this party is like a source of normalcy for me. My mom was UDP, the Sayo Kunjang of this world, Sayo Kunjang of blessed memory. They were my neighbor. All my neighbors were UDP. I didn't know how sometimes this thing, but one time I think Davo said my name in a rally or something. My neighbors were all calling me, and they were so happy for the fact that they see themselves in me.
You.
And they see that the party leader is recognizing me. That means the party leader is recognizing them. So for me, I have higher expectation for the UDP. It will not stop me from pushing the party to step up to that expectation. I will do it. I'll do it privately. I'll do it publicly. I will speak to Dabo personally. Dabo, to be honest, I have such respect for him. I cannot even look at him in the eye. I sit with him. I have ideas, and I thank God that when I suggest things to him, he does it. And
but that's the
that tells me how appreciative and open that he is.
But that's the right thing to do. PDS girl, it will be a low comment later, like but that's the right.
I will
Yeah.
continue to stick to
The truth. That's right.
the principles
That's right.
and the values that I believe
in.
I am raised in, and
That's right.
who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying I'm going to impose these values and
To them.
principles on other people, but
that's right.
Stick to them. If you find it compelling, you gravitate towards, and then we will align in pursuit of those kind of values. But the value I believe I stand for is the same value that they the UDP say they support. They believe in justice. They believe in accountability. They believe the principle of open government and treating all human beings as equal. All human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. This is what I believe in. I wouldn't see anybody and discriminate against them. It breaks my heart if I see such things happen. And the UDP, these are the values and the principles that I expect from them, and these are the values and principles that I will hold them accountable to. We are all Gambians. We all deserve equal rights, access to opportunity, and the welfare of the Gambian citizen. And if I'm going to point my finger on one thing that I believe is the key failure on the part of our government, I would say is that we did not put all premium on the lives and dignity of the human being. This is where we are failing. If we put premium on the people, we would certain things that are happening with to the people, we will find it unacceptable. Man, drive through Kairaba Avenue, you see children as young as 5 or younger who are supposed to be in school. They are running under that boiling sunshine and begging. A society sees that and thinks that as normal. People die, and before you even know it, they are buried. They're given to their owner. There will be no investigation about the cause of death. In the UK, every death, especially unless if you prior to dying, you have been the doctor has declared your condition as terminal. So that means the doctor has prescribed that you are dying from this condition. So it's just a waiting game. But anybody without that prior declaration, if you die, your course of death will be established first before they give you to your people for burial. So this is the thing. Let's put the lives and dignity of our people at the highest standards. Let's always strive to make sure everybody lives in dignity. And dignity is not expensive. Just because people are poor doesn't mean they cannot live in dignity. Sometimes I would say, and I've made this argument before, that we should go back to our own dignity, not how dignity is presented to us. Because the way dignity is presented to us can be expensive. Only maybe rich countries would be able to afford that kind of dignity. For example, you have like $1 million and you plan to build a hospital. You want people to be administered there and treated and stuff, but you decide that the bulk of that money will have to go at the structures. You will build a big, massive building, and then the important things that they need, diagnostic tools, and well-trained, adequately trained and adequately remunerated staff to run those hospitals. You would rather spend the bulk of the money on the structure, because that's what the people see. The people will see a massive building with lights and everything. If you near Banku Bungota, more hot, you build something very moderate. Because this is what it is. People want security, people want comfort, people want dignity. Provide something modest, but spend the bulk of the money to provide diagnostic tools, MRI scanners, CT scanners, ultrasound, some of because even today, Elijah Onsone, and I have a relative who passed away because her condition have been misdiagnosed. She had cancer, but then they diagnosed them with something else, and then the cancer continued to progress. They are using all these means to treat them, but then it was too late. But so I'm not saying this is what we're doing. I'm not saying this is how we should govern, but I think we should look into our priorities a little more in depth to see exactly what is more consequential in terms of how we spend money. And we have to have a good way of generating data, especially a poor country. If you are poor, you want to prioritize your limited resources. You want it to be spent intelligently so that the maximum impact is made. So you cannot blindly spend the money. Generate data, look at exactly the dynamics, study the dynamics, and invest in these things. Invest in the long-term objectives of the country. Stop. But then our people don't see anything wrong with ignoring the plight of the people and taking the money and keeping it for themselves, stealing money and putting it in tax haven. And you talk about conscience. Where is your conscience? When you drive on these roads, you see the suffering. The naked suffering of the people. If you value the life of human being, your conscience should tell you what you've done is wrong. You should not steal from these people. If you think you are a Muslim, you commit to yourself to the 5 daily prayers, you learn the Quran and stuff. Don't steal. Those are the key messages that's come from the religious teachings that you should not steal, especially stealing from people who barely have food to eat. They cannot have 3 square meals a day. You have kids dying, going to bed hungry. So we need to have our priorities right. And for the UDP, if we are going to be the government in waiting, we have to be serious about it. And we have to demonstrate that seriousness now. It's not about, okay, we'll wait till we get there. Start making serious plans to govern. You have to have clear direction, a clear vision, and objectives that will get you there. And then the committees that we have that are there to write the manifesto and look at different sectors, they should continue. It's not just election period. These are constant. They should be meeting constantly, trying to do research, trying to look at everything that other countries have done to make things better for their people. It's not rocket science. If you put your hearts and minds to it, we will get it. We will at least have a way to at least elevate the poverty that is prevalent in the country. So Sabally, people were saying that I am vindicated. It's not really about being vindicated. It's just that our people are driven by emotion a lot, and we have to have critical thinkers. And I'm one of those. I don't look at things on face value. I evaluate things critically and make my own opinion about it. Sometimes this opinion would not align with other people. And I tried to get Sabally to change himself and be the right person that he's claiming to be. I've given suggestions on how he can do that, but he ignored it. He's already having it too easy for him. Why should he listen to someone like me when he says something, everybody's jumping to what he is saying? Then there's no point. But then again, I'm not one of those who will say, okay, he's the one who came, he's the one who went, so let's just ignore it and move on. And I believe in everything that happens, there are lessons to be learned, and we should learn lessons, what we've done, what could have been done differently to kind of change. Because I believe, regardless of how stubborn we are, saying the UDP is a committed party and there will be no, Sabally cannot do anything. Sabally has a lot of information about UDP. Sabally was in the campaign strategy period before the election, I was with him in the same campaign strategy function that we were strategizing. So, and I know he has other groups within the party where he is having access to information, and he has got a lot of relationship on the ground roots. He knows all the major players within the UDP. He has personal favors done for them. He have that cordial relationship with these people. So you cannot tell me he cannot convince those people to also switch, especially when there is instant benefit for them. Because what we know is our people are not loyal, especially when there is some hot cake standing for them. He can easily convince people and sway them to the other side. And he has that connection, he has that influence, and now he has the incumbent on his side who has deep pockets and willing to spend a lot of money to propagate his political ambition. And Sabally is gonna do his best to continue to impress Barrow, to show results and continue to benefit for himself. Because the more results he's shown to Barrow, the more money he will get, and he will just enjoy his life and forgetting about the people that he claimed to have to represent when he was within the UDP. He talked about the destitution that is rife in the country. He made that appeal to the people to make them believe that he genuinely cares about them. He understands their plight, and the people on the other side who he now joins don't care about them. They are stealing their money, and they are completely indifferent to their daily struggles. And that's the betrayal of the highest order, having to betray some of the most vulnerable people in the world for your own gain. So that's it. Let's see how things play out, because this is politics. We have a lot of questionable characters who are driving affairs of this state, people that I would personally wouldn't trust, but they have kind of managed to convince a lot of people who are following them, and they are listening to them. So we are at their mercy. Sabally could have absolutely changed the mindset and reconfigure our political terrain by sticking to the principles that he believed he supports. He could have made something for himself doing that as well. You don't have to be part of the presidency to make money, though that's the easiest way of doing it. But if you are saying to the people, you have a lot of influence, you have many people listening to you, you could have set up a small business. The UDP has been very generous to Sabally. They're sending him, he was even in some people's payroll. They were giving him money, and his average monthly earning is 5 times higher than what the average citizen is gaining. He could have used that money and set up a business and use his influence to promote his business. No matter how small it is, I believe he will make a decent living for himself, and that would show to the young people that politics is not to get yourself rich. You can make it for yourself. You don't have to go and die in the Mediterranean Sea. Come and walk with me. Come and see how I'm doing things, and you can try and do that as well, so that we cannot be subjugated by the president or the executive just because they have the country's resources. You have that phase of defiance. Continue to expose the corruption. Continue to educate the masses to hold the government accountable. But don't succumb to it on the last minute just because you have a brand new pickup and a few some money waiting for you, and then you've decided to abandon the entire country. But then again, these are people, as I've been very suspicious of him. He's demonstrated time and time again that he's only looking out for himself, even when he was serving a government that was slaughtering our people. He decided to look the other way. So for me, that's a clear example that you are not a person that I can rely on. And then even if you come back to present yourself as being the person to rely on, I want you to prove me by at least correcting the facts from things that you've done. If you believe that there's error of judgment and you've messed up, accept responsibility and demonstrate that you mean it. I suggest that go on and get the champion, the youths, the victim center. Give them a voice. Use the platform that you have to get the victims to fight for justice and make sure Barrow will give them justice and give them adequate compensation that they deserve. But you didn't do that. You don't even want to talk about the victim. In fact, when the Truth Commission was set up, you were denouncing it. You were discrediting it. And what do you want me to believe? These are victims whose victimization is directly attached to you, because you supported a system of government that was committing these crimes, but you continue to campaign for them to make sure they are elected back into office, and then they continue to perpetuate heinous crimes against our people. So it can't be that cheap. So thank you very much. I think it's getting late now. It's coming to midnight. I think I will go into bed now. Thank you so much for listening. And sorry, it was a great idea for you to come up with this suggestion for us to come out and have a discussion. Hopefully this can be an ongoing thing. We can routinely come and engage the people about, hopefully about, holding the Barrow government accountable about what they're doing, and at the same time promoting the agenda of the UDP and some of the policies and programs that are in the pipeline to help, at least have some sort of a direction and goals for the party. Because I think this will be crucial to energize the people, to help the people to at least be patient about some of the things that people are working on to help them change their lives. Thank you so much, and God bless.